Hello everyone, today is 30th of June, now it's 15 to 2, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I'll share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. And there are quite a few very significant developments and news that I like to share with you in this program. Although before I start, let me remind you, if I may, that today evening, 9 o'clock Moscow time, I will have a traditional Sunday live stream on main YouTube channel, and I hope you will find time to join the conversation. It's gonna be good fun. It always is. This is a good opportunity to exchange opinions in real time. And as always, if I receive any questions through PayPal, Boosty, or Patreon, I will definitely try to give you as informative answer as I can, and simultaneously I will monitor chat, and if there is any questions I will of course will be engaged actively, and simultaneously I will share all the additional news that Russian media will report during the day. We can summarize previous week, how it went news-wise, and well, that's been said, let's talk about news now. And first of all, short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. We had reports from governor of the Kherson region that Russian armed forces controlling in 100% control of their left bank of the Dnieper River, and there is no big or small footholds of the Kyiv regime anywhere. And right now, main activity is going on on islands in the Dnieper River, and both sides, Russian forces and the Kyiv regime's forces, are trying to establish control over these islands in the delta of the Dnieper River and in river itself. That's been said, there was no reports about any significant changes in Zaporozhe direction. In South Donetsk direction, main hotspot is still, of course, settlement Urozhaine, and Russian forces probably will establish control over that settlement before end of next week. On southern flank of Donetsk sector, main hotspot is of course Krasnogorovka, and according to latest reports, Kyiv regime forces are withdrawing from Krasnogorovka. At least this morning, several channels report about it. And if this is true, then I guess decision already was made by Kyiv regime to withdraw from Krasnogorovka. In that case, before end of next week, possibly Krasnogorovka also will become under full Russian control. When it comes to Avdiivka direction, we have official confirmation that Sokol settlement is under full Russian control now. I mean, this settlement is under Russian control for quite a while, according to reports from different sources, but official confirmation came just now. And also, of course, when it comes to Avdiivka direction, main hotspot is Vozdvizhenka direction. Russian units are very close to this settlement, and possibly next week, this settlement, we will see battles inside this settlement. And once Russian troops will establish control over the Vozdvizhenka, then one may say that this main supply and support line of the Kyiv regime forces in the northern sectors, Kramatorsk, Slavyansk, and so on, will be, situation for them will deteriorate even more significantly, because, well, this is a main line that connects them with Pokrovsk. I mean, strategical, I will say, hub, logistical hub for Kyiv regime forces. One of the strategical hubs of Kyiv regime forces on the line of contact. Not exactly line of contact, but in this conflict, let's say, close to the line of contact. Chisovyar, by the way, Chisovyar, the northern flank of Donetsk sector, there was no reports about some crucial changes. According to some channels, Russian armed forces established additional control over the several buildings in the Canal district of the Chisovyar. And well, this district quite actively being used by Russian forces as a trap, and I didn't really see any reason why would the Russian armed forces rush developments and try to establish control over the district as fast as possible. It's an ideal trap. It's ideal trap especially because this district located on the eastern side of the Seversky Donetsk Donbass channel, and to send reinforcements and munition or any supply. Open terrain has to be crossed, and of course Russian side is in control of this area, and from any reinforcements probably 30-40% is neutralized during the crossing of this area from the main part of Chisovyar towards Canal district. So it's ideal trap, and I guess Russian side will maintain Canal district as a trap for quite a while. Once Kiev regime will stop sending reinforcements, then then Russian side will be forced to establish full control over the district and start military operations inside the main part of Chisovyar. But this is not the case yet. So as long as Kiev regime is willing to send more and more troops towards that district, it will be maintained as a trap. When it comes to northern sectors, a main hotspot is of course Volchansk, and well, according to latest reports, Russian forces improving their positions in the northern part of Volchansk, and some channels are even reporting that probably it's only a matter of days now and the Kiev regime forces will withdraw from northern part of Volchansk, because Russian side is improving positions in Citadel, these high-rise buildings. Russian forces are already inside their Citadel. Russian forces improving positions all around this main group of forces that Kiev regime has in Citadel, and if they don't want to get fully encircled and then neutralized, they have to withdraw now. Even tomorrow it might be late. And as I said, quite a number of channels are expecting that it's only a matter of a few days and the northern part of Volchansk will come under full Russian control, possibly before end of next week. And this is it when it comes to short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. No major changes, I will say, no crucial developments. It's a daily routine, basically: artillery duels, drone wars, positional battles, reckoning force operations, and so on. And although, by the way, of course, there is a huge activity still. It's a positional battles in many cases, but still a very active one. And therefore, if you are interested in more detailed information about these clashes, of course, I recommend for that military channels. And if you are new to alternative media, independent media, and are not familiar with military channels, under this video in description box, you can see links to at least several military channels in my recommendation list of the channels that I follow. And also, by the way, for this I recommend channel of the Alexander Mercuris, also host of Duran Show, his personal channel. He's on daily basis shares with us, with public, detailed analysis of the situation in not just in zone of special military operation, but about all the major events worldwide. So very interesting channel, highly recommend. That's been said, let's talk about some other news now. And RIA Novosti's report here that Russian air defense systems during the nighttime, early hours this morning, shut down 36 Ukrainian drones over the several Russian regions. To be more precise, 15 Ukrainian drones were intercepted over the Kursk region, 9 drones over the Lipetsk region, 4 drones over the territory of Voronezh and Bryansk regions, and also 2 drones over the territory of Oryol and Belgorod regions. No reports at this point about any casualties on the ground and any more or less significant damage. Also, by the way, Vzгляд newspaper and many other media outlets here in Russia reported about yet another terrorist attack of Kiev regime and war crime that was committed by Kiev regime forces in Toretsk direction. According to aide of the head of DPR, Igor Kimakovsky, Russian forces were evacuating basically civilians from Toretsk area, and the Kiev regime forces, of course, they had drones all around, and they see this evacuation. They could not mistake it for any military operation because it's civilians, isn't it? Women, elderly, children, and the Kyiv regime forces attacked this civilian convoy. This process during this process of evacuation, and unfortunately, as a result of this war crime that was committed by Kyiv regime, 7 civilians were killed and a number of civilians injured. Yet another war crime committed by Kyiv regime, intentional attack on civilians, and hopefully one day everyone involved will pay a heavy price for this crime. Although, by the way, same time, one should notice that most likely Western media outlets will pay no attention to these war crimes that are committed by Kyiv regime, and there will be no even single article in any Western media outlet about this crime. Clear newspaper is report, and they call themselves journalists, by the way. They are not. They are not. Only real journalists from the West are operating in independent media, by the way. Real journalists from the West are operating in independent media. They have their own pages, channels, and so on. None of the real journalists are working in Western MSM. None. Not even single decent journalist works for Western MSM. Because all of them are fake, all those New York Times and Washington Post and Guardian, and left of the garbage, by the way. Not a single decent journalist on those so-called medias. Zgled newspapers report that according to coordinator of the Russian underground in Nikolaev region, Sergei Lebedev, Russian forces conducted a successful, precise strike on a warehouse in Zaporozhe region where the regime was hiding its Himars missiles, Himars multi-launch rocket systems missiles. No detailed information about quantity of the missiles that were destroyed, but information itself definitely interesting. Maybe some ATACMS were destroyed because, as we know, ATACMS, US-made ATACMS missiles are launched by Himars, MLRS. And also, by the way, we have information from RIA Novosti that Russian armed forces, with a precise strike, destroyed the military echelon of the Kyiv regime. For this strike, Iskander M missile was used. Let me show you on a big screen. So that's the strike, by the way. This is the echelon. I see some other videos also. And then this military equipment start burning, and significant damage was dealt to the Kyiv regime. Quite a number of armored vehicles, air defense systems, armored vehicles, infantry fighting vehicles, and so on were destroyed as a result of this precise strike on echelon of Kyiv regime. This happened also in Zaporozhe region, in settlement under the name of Ukrainka, by the way. Not far away from that settlement where that echelon was stationed. Also interesting news that the second tour of presidential elections in Iran will take place on 5th of June. In the first tour, none of the candidates managed to receive more than 50% of the votes, and therefore there will be a second tour in which 2 candidates will participate that receive majority of the votes. First, on the first place, according to first tour, is reformist Masoud Pezeshkian, and on the second place is conservative candidate Said Jalili. So these 2 people will be in the second tour, and I guess on 5th of July we will know which one of those candidates will become next president of Iran. RIA Novosti's report, by the way, that today there is elections in France, parliamentary elections, and according to some social studies that was conducted during the previous days, and I reported about it yesterday, also I believe Macron's party is on the third place, and Marine Le Pen's party, and also block of the leftist parties, they are on the first and second place. So maybe we will see significant reshuffle in the French parliament, and in that case, who knows? Maybe Macron will lose his prime minister. Maybe France will have a new prime minister from Marine Le Pen's party. Theoretically, it's a possibility, but yet again, let's wait for exit polls, if there will be any, and let's see how French citizens gonna vote. Also, artists report, by the way, that Iran threatens Israel with obliterating war. Israel will face a catastrophic war if its forces invade Lebanon. Iran has stated, after intensified cross-border fire between the IDF and the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said earlier this month that Israel was prepared for a very intense operation along the border with Lebanon. In a post on X, formerly Twitter, on Friday, Iran's mission to UN labeled Israel's apparent preparations as a psychological warfare and propaganda, but cautioned that an obliterating war will ensure if Israel carries out full-blown attack on Lebanese territory. Okay, Iran is quite clear that it will support Hezbollah by all means necessary. Absolutely not surprising, obviously. But yet again, by the way, I don't think Israeli defense forces are in the position to really hope for success in a full-scale war with Lebanese Hezbollah without Western assistance, without assistance of US, UK, some other NATO member states. So, in my personal opinion, there will be war between Israel and Lebanon only if Washington and London will authorize that war, or if Washington and London will guarantee Netanyahu's government that they will get involved with their militaries to fight Hezbollah, because IDF itself in no position, by the way, to even have had a slight chance of the victory over Hezbollah. No, I mean, they have no chance. And maybe Iran's mission in UN is correct, and all this noise about and bragging from high-ranking officials of Israel about how they're gonna do this and that with the north of the Israel, which means Lebanese border and Lebanon. I mean, maybe it's just psychological warfare, really, because once again, without direct military involvement of US, first of all, I don't think, and some other NATO member states, I don't think IDF will dare to attack Hezbollah. And they had their lesson during the recent war with Hezbollah, which did not went down in a way that Israeli government was hoping. So maybe it's just really a psychological warfare and nothing more. Let's see, we will find out. TASS news agency is reporting, by the way, that yesterday in Serbia, in Belgrade, there was an attempt to attack Israeli embassy, and Serbian policeman who was protecting embassy was injured with an arrow, by the way. So this extremist terrorist basically attacked the Serbian policeman with arrow. His life is not in danger. He managed to open fire towards the terrorist, and neutralize him, terrorist. But he was injured, unfortunately. Embassy, no one in embassy was harmed in any ways. So that's what happened in Belgrade. And this terrorist was killed, by the way, by fire from this wounded police officer, according to reports that I read. But unfortunately, that's what is happening worldwide because of the actions of the Netanyahu's government. More and more people are getting radicalized, and there are some of them may join some terrorist groups and do some crazy stuff. That's why it is, so necessary to start peace talks and achieve a long-lasting ceasefire in the Middle East between Israel and Palestine. RT is reporting that Democrat donors want Biden to withdraw, according to Bloomberg. Okay. After disastrous debates, when Biden was set up to fail, basically. Of course, all bets are off now, and everyone is attacking Biden from the left. By the way, it's not the right wing politicians or media that is paying that much attention to this. It's a left-wing media, so-called media, left-wing activists, donors, and so on that are openly now attacking Biden and demanding he to be withdrawn from this presidential race. They want some other candidates. And by the way, Washington Post come up with some 10 names who might replace Biden in this race. And according to Washington Post, one of their 10 may be Kamala Harris, current vice president, although she's no any more popular than Biden himself. And I would not say that she's much clever, really. So therefore, I would not count that Kamala Harris will be on the ballot. No way. Also, by the way, there are other names also. For example, governor of the Michigan State, Gretchen Whitmer. She is considered to be exactly the opposite of the Kamala Harris, I guess. And at least on the paper, she looks good. This Gretchen Whitmer. I have no idea who this person is, but she's governor. Also, by the way, names of Pete Buttigieg. This is transport minister of US, extremely stupid individual. I see several news about this person. Extremely stupid, uneducated, individual, man. So, why would anybody consider this imbecile to become next president? I don't know, man. Also, by the way, Washington Post is mentioning names like governors of the Pennsylvania, Colorado, and California, Josh Shapiro, Jared Polis, and Gavin Newsom. Also, a senator from Georgia, Raphael Warnock. On the 8th place, by the way, Washington Post is considering Michelle Obama, a wife of the former US President Barack Obama. And also authors of this article in Washington Post mentioning names of Amy Klobuchar, senator from Minnesota, and also governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear. So, this is the names that theoretically can replace, according to Washington Post, Biden. Majority of those names say nothing to me personally, but our members of our community from US probably are familiar with all of them. And interestingly, there is no mentioning of the Hillary Clinton. Maybe she is too toxic even for Washington Post. I don't know. But that's the only surprise that I see in this list, by the way, that Hillary Clinton is not even mentioned. Interesting. Let's continue, and we have RBK News Agency's report here that former and possibly future president of US, Donald Trump, during his one of the campaign rallies made an interesting statement that if he is the president of US, then China and Russia will not be enemies of the US. While now he considers that, you know, under Trump's administration, China and Russia become enemies of US. Well, I will disagree with Trump, because I don't know about China. I mean, Chinese people can say about it, but here in Russia we don't really see countries as enemies. We might have some issues with the elites of this country or that country, political elites, ruling class, but when it comes to countries, man, I mean, why would I see US as an enemy? Why would I have any hostility towards US or any other country, by the way? When it comes to US political elites, it's a garbage, but vast majority of the so-called politicians in US, I mean, total imbeciles. I can say that, and I have no respect for them, but when it comes to US, why? I don't see Russia being enemy of US, man. So therefore, if Trump becomes president and makes some changes in the foreign policy of the US, then, well, US may stop acting as enemy of Russia. That may happen, because US definitely acting as an enemy of Russia, while we cannot say exactly the same about Russia. Russia can harm US interests worldwide big time, but until now, by the way, Russia did not act as an enemy of US, isn't it? No. So yes, Trump is a little mistaken here if he thinks that we see countries as enemies worldwide. No, we may have some issues with political elites of some countries if they are acting extremely hostile towards us. But political elites, they come and go. But countries and societies, that's a whole different story. They stay always, and that's why we should never consider ordinary people. We should never consider each other as enemies, and our countries also as enemies. Political elites, yes. I mean, Western ruling class is clearly enemy of Russia. I mean, there can be no doubts about it. But let's see. I mean, members of our community from US, many members are saying in comment sections that even if Trump will win election, nothing will change. Well, it is possibility, isn't it? After all, I am not in US. I don't know all this internal stuff that goes there. But US citizens, they know better how their system is operating. And will Trump be allowed to act on his promises, let's say, or not? And that's why many members of our community from US are quite skeptical. They have no trust in system, which is totally corrupt, and I understand why they don't trust such system. Anyway, let's continue. RT is reporting that Pentagon denies plans to establish a base in a Southern African state. Well, this is interesting story. President of Zimbabwe mentioned while he was here in Russia, he mentioned that US is trying to weaponize Zambia and build some and transfer Zambia into some sort of military base for US to influence regional countries, and we have now reaction from the Pentagon that they have no plans to establish any military base in Zambia or to weaponize Zambia. Well, I don't know. Can we trust Pentagon? Obviously not. They are lying, and probably President of Zimbabwe knows better what is going on in its neighboring country. So one should expect some disturbances in that region now, in that region of Africa. After all, well, this imperialistic forces, by the way, French, UK, US, they are experiencing some defeat after defeat when it comes to their military presence in Africa, in many African countries. And maybe this will become a trend for the entire world. And more countries will force these occupying forces out of their countries. In Oceania, for example, in Latin America or in South America, in Global South in general, there is so many countries under US occupation, for example. US factual occupation. After all, I mean, it's US that has 800 to 900 military bases all around the world, isn't it? So, interesting. And what else? Artist report here, by the way, that US signs a new 4.5 billion Patriot missile contract. US defense industry giant Lockheed Martin missiles and fire control has been awarded a contract for 4.5 billion for Patriot missile systems. The Pentagon announced on Friday their multi-year deal covers 870 PAC-3 MSE missiles and their associated hardware. Well, they sent so many missiles to the regime that I guess they need to refurnish their own stockpiles now. And well, good for US military-industrial complex. Another billions and billions of US taxpayers' money that they're gonna pocket. Kommersant newspaper is reporting that leader of Turkish opposition, by the way, this is interesting that leader of Turkish opposition is planning to meet with the Russian president. So leader of the, let me translate name of this party, or entire sentence even. So the leader of the opposition Republican People's Party of Turkey, Özgür Özel, plans to visit Europe, Russia and China next week. He claims that he will meet with the Russian President Vladimir Putin. And this is interesting because if you remember just a little ago, like 2 weeks ago, current foreign minister of Turkey stated that Ankara is open for idea to join BRICS, basically. And I said straight away that, you know what, Moscow and other BRICS capitals have to be very careful when receiving new members or applications from new, hopeful countries, especially from the countries that are experiencing turbulence in political system, like Turkey, by the way. Because yes, Erdogan's current government of Turkey may say, you know what, we see better future for Turkey in close cooperation with BRICS member states, with Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and therefore we want to join BRICS. They may say it, but if opposition then comes to power and derails all the agreements, that's not gonna be good for anybody, isn't it? And in Turkey there is this political divide right now, and that's why I think it is important that leader of the Turkish opposition plans to visit Russia and China, Europe also, but in this particular case, Europe is just to refuel his plane, I guess. Turkey and Europe, they're not gonna become strategical partners anytime soon or ever. Turkey is waiting for joining BRICS, to join EU, how many decades? Like 3-4 decades now. So Turkey knows perfectly well that better future for Turkey is with the multipolar world and with BRICS. And therefore, it is good that now opposition candidate will travel to Russia, will travel to China. Leadership of Russia and China will get to know this person, his ideas. I'm quite sure there will be talks about this initiative of current Turkish leadership to join BRICS or to get closer, at least, to BRICS, and let's see what will come out from these visits. If he will reassure leadership of Russia and China that if opposition will become in power in Turkey, they will not derail process of integration of Turkey with the BRICS, then who knows? That might fast track Turkish bid to join BRICS for sure. But some guarantees are needed. Some guarantees are needed though, because we all know what happened with Argentina, isn't it? Brazil was lobbying Argentina. I'm quite sure Russia was not really keen on it. India or China also, because we all know state of economy of Argentina. Right? But Brazil was lobbying Argentina, and because of this respect to Brazil, countries agreed to basically pay billions and billions and billions to build up Argentina's economy, and then this crazy Milei become president and just smash all the deals, derail this process, and I don't know where Argentina gonna end up as a result of it, man. I just don't know. But we know that example, and therefore, of course, BRICS will be more careful now. And yesterday, it was yesterday, isn't it, or day before, I reported that Russian Foreign Minister even stated that BRICS will take pause now to accept any new members, and BRICS will be focused on integration processes and to build up some better cooperation among the countries, BRICS member states. That will be main focus now. And I hope also BRICS will focus on building alternative financial and banking system that is needed in this world so much. And then after 3-5 years, yes, why not? Maybe new members will join BRICS also. And I will end this update on this news that Chinese leader Xi Jinping will conduct some international tour, and he will participate in the work of Shanghai Cooperation Organization that will take place, summit that will take place in Astana, capital of Kazakhstan. So yes, his tour will start on 2nd of July and will last until 6th of July. Well, this is also a big topic, of course. He will visit Tajikistan, not just Kazakhstan, where this summit will take place, but also Tajikistan, by the way. So important. China is, of course, heavyweight on the world stage, and any moves that Beijing does is, brings to it attention, obviously. So yes, Chinese leader will participate in summit of Shanghai Cooperation Organization in person, and I guess Russian president also, and there may be some other leaders of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization countries too there. Okay, this is it for now. Quite relatively short update, really. And hopefully you will find it somewhat informative, interesting, and maybe useful or entertaining. And if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary just about anything, and if you can, please share information about my channel with your friends in real life or on internet. And finally, if you like this channel, if you like my work, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. And before I go, let me remind you once again that today evening, 9 o'clock Moscow time, I will have a live stream on main YouTube channel. So I hope you'll find time to join the conversation. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.